Well, hello and good evening. This is Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, and we are about to begin our next episode of Conversations from the C Suite, the Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. But you know how we like to get it started. We want to make sure that we are not having a conversation by ourselves. So I invite you to invite someone else. We always like to invoke the power of three. So, will you please invite at least three people? Share this link out to at least three people, or at least three groups, or both. The more, the merrier. Because the more that we have on, the more that we can share this great information. Because we've got a powerhouse coming to the stage tonight, and I'm really excited to begin this two-part series on helping us to get through the holidays. So I'm going to do as I've asked you to do and share this out. So you know how we roll. I want to invite you to hang tight and invite. So we'll be back shortly to begin this episode. All right, it is time for another episode of Conversations from the C Suite, the Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, and it is indeed my pleasure to be with you this day in the C Suite. I hope you grabbed your favorite beverage. I've got mine because we are about to have a great conversation. You know, every woman needs to be the CEO of her life. And it's when she has a seat at the table that not only does she make things greater and better for herself, but she makes a seat at the table for someone else, because there is power when women gather. And Conversations from the C Suite is a power packed hour that provides women a platform to talk about real issues that impact real women, because we know that life doesn't end when we leave the office. But you know what? CEOs don't just sit around and wait on great things to happen. They make great things happen, because that's what being the CEO of you is all about. The name says it all. Chief Executive Officer, one who gets things done, executes. Now, you know, the C-suite in any organization is at the top. It's the pinnacle of the organization. It's where all the big wigs are, where big things are popping, right? Well, each of us has a C-suite in our lives, because the C-suite is where the decisions are made. And each of you has a C-suite where you are the CEO of you, and you are making the decisions to create the life you desire and deserve. Now, what does this chief executive officer do? We know a chief executive officer gets things done. The chief executive officer, CEO, comes up with a plan, develops a strategy, works with a team. Hey, you're not out here by yourself. And they inspire that team to get things done. You are being a CEO in your life every day and not even giving yourself credit, but it's about to stop today. So, where are you on your journey to your C suite? You may be a CEO on the rise. You're just getting started. You just decided, you know what? I am the CEO of me. So you're a CEO on the rise. You may be a CEO on the move. That means you've been at this. You've made the decision to go to your C suite, but you're still making it better. You're still going one level at a time. And you may be the CEO, you running things, you making big things pop, but you know that even when you are the CEO, you can always be an even better CEO, because CEOs don't just sit around on their laurels. They continue to take it to the next level. So you're in the right place wherever you are in your journey to your C-suite. Because here in the C-suite, we want to make sure that you feel something, that you learn something, but most of all, baby, you got to do something. That's right, do something. We don't want you to just feel good. Yeah, we want you to feel good. Put some comments out there. Let me know how you feel. We want you to learn something, take some notes, learn something you didn't know before, but for goodness sake, girl, do something with what you learned, because that's when you're really making those CEO moves. Now, making CEO moves is really about creating the life you desire and deserve. It's creating your circle of influence. It is educating and empower yourself for elevation and operationalizing what you learn so that you can optimize your outcomes. That's what making CEO moves is all about. So whether you are the CEO of a business or you report to a CEO, you are always the CEO of you. So let's get ready to talk about some strategies that help you to capitalize on your most powerful asset, your ability to make decisions, your choices, the power of your choices, because you truly have the power to create the life you desire and deserve. So, are you ready? I hope you are ready. I hope you're ready to enter the C-suite. I'm excited. I am just really thrilled. I have one of my favorite people in the lobby who is going to help us get through the holidays. So, you always used to listen to that song. I don't know if y'all listen to the Motown classics, but what do the lonely do for Christmas? I'm not going to sing, but you get the point. But, you always hear that song, and Christmas truly can be, the Christmas season, the holiday season can truly be really, really hard for people, because it's a time when you want to be all booed up, but you might be by yourself. And, you may be wanting to be with somebody, maybe wanting to be with family, or you just may want to do some things that you aren't able to do. And seasonal depression is real. There are a lot of us who are impacted by this time of year. This is one of the most hardest times of the year for people who are dealing with death of a loved one, not themselves, because if they did, then, well, they holiday, might be good, might be not. But anyway, they're dealing with the death of someone they love. They may be dealing with divorce. They may be dealing with a breakup, or they just may be dealing with an empty nest. Their family is now away, or their family dynamics have changed and it's not like it used to be. Well, we want to make sure that we can truly say joy to the world. We don't want to be Grinch. We don't want to be Scrooge. We want to truly be joyful in our holiday season, so that not only are we able to spread joy to the world during this season, but beyond. So I have someone who's very special to me in the lobby, and I'm going to bring her to the stage to help us to learn how to really be joyful during our holiday season, regardless of what's going on. So let me just tell you a little bit about the powerhouse CEO that we're going to have in the C-suite today. I'm pleased to bring to the virtual stage none other than Jocelyn Lane. She's a licensed certified social worker at the Gulf Coast Veterans Healthcare System in Biloxi. She's been providing social services for over 15 years. She has her own business, the Premier Professional Counseling Services, and she is not only is she a powerhouse as a counselor in helping people in that capacity, she also has a nonprofit, the Pink Lotus Project, which is a 501c3 that focuses on women and girls empowerment. She's truly a powerhouse. She's actively involved in her community, serves on several boards, and she's in the best, the first and finest sorority, Alpha, Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So she is my soror. And I had the pleasure of chartering a chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So she's one of the charter members of that organization and just completed her presidency there. So she's a leader far and beyond. And I could just go on and on. She also has a family, beautiful family. I just love her. But we're going to go ahead and bring her to the stage so that she can help us to be truly joyful during this holiday season. Hi. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, I am so pleased to have you here. Been looking forward to this. Of course, we planned this a while back, right. But I'm ending out the calendar year with you as my guest. So you're gonna close out the conversations from the C-suite for this calendar year. So thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited about that. Thank you.
Yes, well, we always like to start out with the who, the what, and the why. I've shared with them about, your bio, but I want to hear who is the real Jocelyn Lane. What do you do, and why do you make CEO moves?
Well, I am a mental health provider. I am a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a caregiver. I am a empower, a motivator, and I'm a CEO.
Yes.
So that's a little bit about who I am. I'm from a very small town in central eastern Mississippi. Only child. So I've had a wonderful upbringing, and I'm really happy about where I am in my life right now.
Yes.
Very pleased about that. And very excited about being able to share some of that information with the guests that we have today.
All right, well, awesome. So I want to know, starting, because, when you hear your bio, the first thing I always think about is, when is my girl sleeping? Jesus, when is she sleeping? Because, you are truly doing what I call living life in the and that, you have your business, you have your career, your family, and you still find time to make those CEO moves and help empower others. And I just want to take a little time to learn about, what motivated you to start the Pink Lotus Project?
I started Pink Lotus back in 2013. I was going through a emotional rough patch, if you will, and I needed something to do. And I was a member of a part of Leadership Gulf Coast. The year prior, and I had just graduated. And so at the end of that program, they always ask you, for reflections and things that you've learned and what do you want to do. And so I talked about wanting to do a little bit more to help women and girls. And so we discussed how will you do that? They try to pull it out of you. What do you want to do? I said, well, I would really like to have a nonprofit that focuses on women and girls to just empower them to live, to be their best, mentoring girls who not necessarily come from poverty or anything like that, but girls who just need more information. And I think that that's kind of where I was as a teen growing up. I had a wonderful upbringing. Education was instilled in me from a very early age, but being able to see women who look like you around you, I didn't have that. And in some non-traditional careers. So I wanted to be able to offer that to girls who were coming up who may not be able to see, some women in some non-traditional careers. So it was very important to me to be able to offer young girls that, and be able to offer my daughters that opportunity as well.
Yes. And I hope that y'all really heard the CEO move. That's why I asked her about this. That was a true CEO move, because what she described is, she was feeling a little out of sorts herself, going through an emotionally difficult time, and decided to channel that into something that would not only empower her, but to empower others. And that's what making CEO moves is truly all about. Right. Because early on, if you were listening to my opening spiel, and I talk about this every time, when you get a seat at the table, it's not just for you. It's to get a seat at the table for somebody else, because first of all, you need an ally. Okay. That's one of the biggest misnomers or misconceptions about being empowered is lonely at the top. You better get you somebody at the top who's on your side.
Right. Absolutely.
It's also about paving the way from others. And I just wanted to highlight that CEO move, because that's what it's all about here in the C-suite, which is truly taking those lemons and
Mm-hmm.
turned it into lemonade. And you not only did it empower you, but it empowered others. So I just wanted to celebrate that and thank you. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
So, we're going to talk about Lord, these holidays. And, this is very apropos. I need this for myself. And because last year, I decided I was going to divorce Christmas. I said, I'm breaking up with Christmas. This year, I'm just divorcing it completely. and it's because, the Christmas holidays have always been very, well, not always, for much of my life have been very traumatic since my parents divorced. My parents divorced in 2010. Excuse me, when I was 10 years old. And that was the last truly, in my mind, beautiful Christmas that I experienced, because my family was together, and the next Christmas they weren't. And I had to decide, was I going to go to my mom's? Was I going to go to my dad's? And I hated Christmas every year because of that, and decided that when I got my own family, that we were going to have beautiful Christmases. And I went way over the top every year to try and make my family Christmases really beautiful. It was all about our family. I decorate the house. You've been have hot chocolate and all these different things, because I wanted them to have a truly memorable Christmas. And, and one of the reasons, honestly, this is kind of sad or something, I don't know how you describe it, but one of the biggest reasons I fought so hard, for my marriage to stay intact, was I didn't want them to have to decide who they were going to spend Christmas with. So I was going to try to stick it out.
I would say, Stephanie, that is not sad, it's honest.
Yeah.
And when we can be honest with ourselves about what it really is, then we're on the healing. But when you can't be honest with yourself, so you're on the right track. You're honest.
Yeah. But of course, now that I'm divorced, last Christmas was the first Christmas my boys did not spend Christmas with me. And it just was heartbreaking. And I couldn't even put Christmas decorations up because it was just so sad. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm just not going to celebrate Christmas anymore. And I did it not from a Scrooge perspective, but I knew I had to reset what Christmas meant.
Right.
Or every year I was going to be good and crazy, for Christmas.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I created my own Christmas experience, and it was beautiful. And so it allows me to be a little bit healthier this year.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people deal with this. A lot of people, we discussed this a little bit, even before starting, is just, how difficult the holidays can be, because there are all these pressure, all these doggone Hallmark movies. The Hallmark movies, I think, messing a lot of folks up. Everybody fall in love, they go back to their little hometown, they find somebody, which is great.
Yes.
But you have all this pressure on you.
There's a lot of pressure.
The perfect Christmas experience, and you're just trying to make it to the new year.
Trying to make it through. Well, I think a lot of that is expectation.
Yeah.
Society has an expectation that we are to have a beautiful Christmas and that everyone is going to enjoy the holidays.
Yeah.
But that's not true. That's not true for everybody. And so when we're maneuvering through the holiday season, that can make you feel sometimes a little bit worse because the expectation is there that you will be happy, that you'll be around family who love you, and that it will just be the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah. But for a lot of people, it's not that. And so I think we have to think about what the expectation is and go back and think about what our expectation for ourselves is during that time. And not have so much of society's expectation coming in on what we know we cannot handle during the holiday season.
Right. Because I know that was something that was just really important for me, because, I had so much just trauma associated with Christmas over the years anyway, that, I had, like you say, I had to have that. I had to realign my expectations about what Christmas means. And I love, I think it's Hobby Lobby has some commercials now, and it's just different scenarios. And at the end, I love the message: Christmas is what you make it.
Right.
And I think they're trying to get you to come up in there and buy them Christmas decorations. but
Yes.
but the message is really beautiful because it's showing all these different scenarios of just people enjoying Christmas in their own way. And I think, whatever holiday, we're celebrating, whether it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's our birthdays, it's all these different, like you say, societal expectations. As the CEO of your life, as the CEO of you get to set
Right.
expectations that you have. And I think that's something that's really important for us
And
to
acknowledging that the holidays are going to be tough.
Right.
And not hiding the fact that you're going through something this holiday season. So
Mhm.
just acknowledging to yourself, this season is going to be tough for me. So I get to decide how I want to move throughout this season. You get to decide how you want to show up for others. And you get to decide how you want others to show up for you.
Yeah.
So just really acknowledging that, first of all, it's going to be tough. There may be tears, there may be sadness, and lower that societal expectation.
Right.
That it's going to be wonderful and beautiful and lots of glitz and glam, because that may not be how you are going to be showing up this holiday season.
Right.
And having others around you that are really honest about that. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, sometimes we just have to say, well, I'm just at a place right now where I feel life sucks and I'm just gonna stay in this moment. And I'm not, and it's fine. Because I always think about, one of my favorite movies is the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And if you think about the whole psychology behind that, he got his little feelings hurt years ago for Christmas when they teased him when he was a little boy, and he hated Christmas every year thereafter, so much to the point where he didn't want anybody else to experience Christmas. And I think that, that's something that we really, really have to be mindful about, is that we don't allow experiences to determine, how we're going to celebrate or not. Because like for me, I hated Christmas because my parents got divorced, and really they still love me the same. And honestly, I got twice the gifts. You would have I got twice the gifts because my mama got me something, my daddy got me something. I was so focused on the negative that we weren't all in the same place, that I allowed that to shadow my view of Christmas for years. I mean, I literally used to say I hate Christmas, and when I kind of acknowledged this last year that Christmas was going to be sad for me because my boys weren't going to be with me, I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to allow myself to hate Christmas. I'm just going to break up with it. And that was my way of starting,
Right. So I think we have to decide too, because there's so many traditions that we make with our families, that we make, with our friends. So we get to decide what we want to keep. We get to decide what traditions we want to keep. We get to decide what we want to do away with and what we want to keep. That may be not putting up a huge Christmas tree, but maybe just doing Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
Or going to see some friends for Christmas Eve, or hosting your own gathering of other friends who may not have family in the area.
Right.
So we need to decide what we want to do for ourselves during that time. And if that means nothing, that's okay too. That's okay too. You have to be able to do what you can do emotionally. And when you get to the point where you can't do any more emotionally, that's okay. It's time to take a step back, because you don't want to overload.
Right.
You definitely don't want to overload yourself. Right. So, being present in the moment as far as where you are with your emotions is really important.
Yeah, because one of the things I wonder, because you talk about how sometimes you have to pull back and be by yourself, but then on the other hand, you might not need to be by yourself. You might need to be around others. So how do you kind of figure out which do you need to do? And kind of
what I would do is just kind of test it out. You know, you definitely don't want to be a Grinch. You don't want to go to somebody's Christmas party and stand in the corner and mean mug all day long. You don't want to do that.
Steal a, what is it? What did they steal? A hoop punch or something?
So you definitely want, I would say, take it in spurts. You know, I'm going to do this party this week. And if I feel like this is not going well, then I have permission to excuse myself. You know, you got to give yourself permission to test things out to see, maybe I can stand a little bit this week, but I'm not going to be able to do a whole bunch of stuff next week.
Yeah.
And just kind of, you know, giving yourself an opportunity to kind of see where you fit.
Right.
What happens, how you're feeling. So I wouldn't necessarily cut it all off, but just know when, you know, is appropriate for you to not go into overload.
Yeah. And I think, you know, a very important word you use is, you know, give yourself permission, you know, because I think a lot of times we obligate ourselves to go to parties, stay at this, you know, or to be in certain situations when if truly we are operating in our CEO-ness,
absolutely,
you know, we will give ourselves permission to say, you know what, I'm going to go and stay for an hour. And when the clock strikes 7 or whatever the hour is, I'm out. And I don't have to apologize for it.
Absolutely. And I think that we start to apologize for that type of stuff. Well, I'm not going to be able to make your party. And sometimes it's so much happening, so many wheels turning, so much going on that we feel like, okay, we have to be at everybody's thing. I've been invited to 7 parties and I need to do all 7. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to pick 4, the best of 4. You know, that's what I can give.
Yeah.
And just being okay with saying I'm not going to be able to make it. And, you know, letting people know that that's not personal.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to be able to make it. And being very honest with yourself about where you are is really important.
Right. Because, you know, we've been these last 2 episodes are going to close out our relationship series where we've been talking about different the ways our relationships impact us and, you know, creating that circle of influence. Right. And I think, you know, one thing that's really important around the holidays, really before the holidays, but especially by the time you get to them, is to make sure that you have solid relationships where people understand and are not going to be mad at you because you're dealing with something, and instead of them being understanding and trying to help you, you know, they're mad at you because you didn't come to their party. And which is why it's so important to take stock of your relationships throughout the year, so that when you get to those tough areas, you know, you got people that, you know, who understand you, who know you, who love you, and they're going to love you whether you come or whether you don't.
Absolutely. So that's really important. Knowing your audience, knowing who your friends are, you know, and knowing what you need to sign up for and what you don't need to sign up for. And then kind of maybe telling people, you know, I'm not going to be able to make it. There's a couple of things I've already told people. I'm not going to be able to come. I'm sorry. You know, hopefully you won't be mad, but I'm not going to.
You're going to be all right with Jesus.
You're going to be all right. But being okay with yourself that people may be upset if you don't show up. So a lot of that is internal. You know, we take that and, oh my God, are they going to be upset if I don't come? Well, they may be. However, how do we internalize that? How do we internalize that somebody's going to be upset with us about not being where they want us to be at a particular time? So having that core group of people that understand that the holidays may not be your best time, you know, is really important, because that's internalizing everybody else's feelings, and not really putting stock into your own.
Right. And that's something that's so important, you know, about being the CEO of you is, you know, valuing yourself enough to give your feelings the same level of respect that you give others.
And consideration.
I was talking to a friend, you know, earlier this week, and, you know, she really needed to move on some things. It's a relationship issue. And, you know, she's like, well, but, you know, I'm nice. I don't want to be nice. And I said, he's not being nice to you. He's being thoughtful of your, you know, of your feelings. And you got to be nice to you. And part of being nice to others is respecting you and not feeling bad about about setting your boundaries.
Not feeling bad about taking care of yourself.
Right.
You have to have some self-care. Think about your feelings, because that's what's going to drive you. So if your feelings are off, if your feng shui is off, then you're going to be off. For whatever else is coming in your path for the next couple of months or weeks or days or whatever's coming. If you're off, everything else is going to be off. If your mental is off, everything else is going to be off. So you have to find some time for some self-care and for some real time is what I call it. Just time to sit down and say, okay, what's happening? And really think about reality, not what you want it to be, but what it is.
Yeah.
And so creating a path or creating an action plan based on what it really is. Because sometimes we create an action plan based on, what we kind of think it should be, or this relationship. Well, if they say yes to this, then I'll do this.
Yeah.
If they say no, then I'll do this. So it's kind of like you're stuck in limbo the whole time. And so when you're stuck in limbo, you're not really able to live your best life.
Right.
Or do your thing, because you're stuck waiting on someone else to move, someone else's feelings to move. And then I can move, which is not the way that you should be doing it, especially when it comes to your feelings.
Yeah. 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 Because, one of the kind of, I guess, paradox or a paradox of the holiday season is it's all about giving, right? It's all about giving to others. And, that's a message. Give, literally giving gifts and giving service and give, when that may be the worst thing for you to do because of just simply where you are. You may need to receive because, or at least just not feel compelled to give, because sometimes, it's taxing the financial, side of the holiday season. Because, a lot of people literally can go into debt, during the holiday season. I know that's one thing I do not miss about being married. He had like 50 million relatives, and I had to buy for all them jokes. I love them now. But I would literally have to go out and buy. I mean, my Christmas list of just his side, it was like 20 something people. And it was like 20 some people, and I ain't bought my folk nothing yet.
Yeah, right. So
but it was just the mental stress of having, and to pick something out, and it wasn't the money, because the expectation wasn't that it was necessarily something expensive, but just the mental stress of having to pick out. I mean, I had my entire Christmas list was like 50 something people. Wow. And I was a busy mom, wife, CEO myself, and then, trying to be the Griswolds and having to buy them. And it literally would stress me out.
Yes. So creating some boundaries around what you're going to do, some healthy boundaries. And I love a nice and healthy no.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Beautiful when you can get a really healthy and sweet no, I'm not doing that.
No, thank you. That's mine.
Finding out, and Christmas lists can be very long. So you have to sometimes go down that list and say, look, let's just really think about this. Is there something else that I can give? Homemade cookies.
Yeah.
Homemade gifts. I'm going to bake you a cake. Things like that are from the heart, but are not going to put you in a position where you are having to borrow money or having to, run your credit card up, and then next month you have bills. So utilizing like a Christmas club account and being very intentional that you're only going to spend what's in that account. So if you've only saved $500, that's all of your Christmas money. That's it. And you're not going to do anything, even though that may disappoint some people.
Yeah.
And what's amazing to me is that people get disappointed about gifts.
Yeah.
I'm in your life. I'm the best gift that you can have. People get disappointed about gifts. So you have to be very, honest with where you are, with the reality, and saying, look, I'm not in a position to do that this year, and not feel bad about that. Yeah. Because again, those societal expectations are that we're going to go out and buy the 50 gifts
Yeah.
for everybody. And then, where does that leave you next month? Because the bills are still coming.
Yeah.
You don't get a break in December. It's still coming.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to put yourself in a position to spiral down even more when you're already feeling bad, because now you have a $2,000-$3,000 credit card bill.
Right.
You weren't expecting.
Look, and ain't now one of them coming to try to help you pay it either.
And you got any good gifts.
Right. Yeah. Because that's one decision I made for myself last year. Because like I said, last year I broke up with Christmas and just said I'm not going to celebrate it at all for the reason of recalibrating. And then this year, I still haven't put my decorations up because it's just me here. And but my boys are coming to visit next week, so I think I might put a couple of things. Like that was one of the things. I had beautiful like Santas and angels that I used to love putting.
I remember.
You remember all my Santas? Yeah. I used to love putting all of that up. And then one of the things that I loved doing was the tree. We had a family tree. I never had a really fancy designer tree, and all the ornaments they meant something. And so I don't know. I may put something up, but I said I'm through with gift giving. And not being a Scrooge about it, but being realistic. All of my family lives like everywhere. And I remember one Christmas, I bought everybody's gifts. And it was like January or February before I got everybody's gift mail. And I was like, oh, forget it.
Yeah.
One cousin, I think by the time I got her Christmas gift, it was like Mardi Gras. So
Happy Mardi Gras.
I decided I'm just not gonna do it because it's stressful. Now, if I see them, if we're gonna be in the same place, y'all might get some, but I ain't shipping nothing all over all over America.
Redefining your expectations, redefining what traditions you want to keep, what you don't want to keep, and moving out of that societal expectation is so good. It's almost uplifting when you don't have to do what everybody is expecting you to do. When you're okay with doing it. But the hard part is being okay with that. Because people expect you to give. They expect a gift from you. They expect things. And so when you don't deliver, that can sometimes create a shift.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on? Or what's happening with her? It can sometimes create a shift. So you, in turn, have to be okay with that shift happening. Others may be unhappy about the decisions that you've made for yourself.
Right.
And that happens a lot. People come into, in your space and say, well, I'm not happy with what you do with your life. So, you have to be okay with the shift. Yeah. And being okay with, some others not being really happy with the shift.
Yeah. Right. And I think that's something that, like you say, we really have to get okay with people not being okay with us.
Right.
Because unfortunately, or realistically, that's a lot of the reason that we're in the situation we're in anyways, because we're trying to meet some external expectation that's causing all these internal issues.
Right.
For me, I had to really be thoughtful about, why is Christmas such a big deal to me? Why do I get out bent out of shape about it? What is the deal with me and Christmas? And really, when I got to look at it, it was about love and being with people I love and it was about peace. Being peaceful. I like peace on Thanksgiving. I like peace on Christmas, and chaotic Christmases with drama on Christmas Day just messes me all up, and that's what I had to realize, is that what I was really looking for was peace.
Right.
And so I had one of the best, most peaceful Christmas last year, and it was, a lot of it was just because of my state of mind. So I think that's something that we have to really be honest with ourselves, what we really want and what and what is really important to us, and then create that in a way that works for us.
Right. So being, like you said, being honest about it is important. and creating what you want for yourself.
Yeah.
Because we create, and I had a conversation with my girls. So you know my girls.
Yeah.
A conversation with them last week about gift giving, and I give them what I'm going to give them.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, now you will take some of that and you will do this for this person.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh my God. And I'm like, yes, you'll take your money
Yeah.
and you will give gifts to these people because they have been integral parts of your year and helping you this year. So you're going to, it doesn't have to be anything expensive, but you're going to acknowledge the relationship in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, oh my goodness. But to me, it was more about gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Gratitude, being thankful for, your grandmother who comes to watch you when I'm out of town,
Mm-hmm.
or being thankful for your aunt that will come when my mom is working,
Mm-hmm.
to come in and do whatever needs to be done. So a lot of that is just gratitude for me.
Yeah.
Letting people know that you appreciate them. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a $1,000 gift. It can be a card. It can be some cookies.
Mm-hmm.
But I need you to show action.
Right.
In this season of gratitude. So, sometimes children don't always understand that, but the more that we instill that in them,
Mm-hmm.
that they'll be better with some of the decisions that we're making as far as, showing gratitude. And we showing gratitude as well.
Right.
To others, and to our friends and to those who may not understand where we are in this season in our life. But showing a little bit of gratitude to those people as well. I know you don't understand, but I'm thankful for you being here.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the invite, even though, I'm not coming, but I thank you for that invitation and just showing some gratitude. That can go both ways.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know gratitude is just it is such a healing experience. Oh, it is, because that's one of the biggest changes I've made, even like in my everyday prayers, is just beginning with, understand what I'm grateful for. And just, it just changes any situation. It's like today ended up being, a really hectic day because I had to be somewhere at 12:15. And I got my day started, and a project that I thought was going to take 30 minutes took me an hour and a half. And so I just threw my whole schedule off. And then, when I was just like, I was about to get just all bent out of shape, but I'm like, I'm grateful I got the project done. I'm grateful. I just kind of at every moment, okay, I'm grateful I finally got my shower. I'm grateful I finally got, I was like, I may not get there. I wanted to get there at a particular time, but I said, but you know what? I'm going to get there on time. It's going to be a beautiful experience. And it was.
Right.
I started out with gratitude, and gratitude just changes your whole perspective.
It does.
It
does. It takes you outside of yourself, to see others, to be thankful. And, that goes both ways. It gives others the opportunity to be thankful for you.
Right.
Which is really good. We need to feel, that we've done something good in this world. And so sometimes we need people to say, hey, you've done a good job, or to be thankful for you. I'm thankful for your friendship. I'm thankful, that you invited me to your party.
Right.
I'm thankful for you being in my life in this season. So just, having gratitude both ways is also really important.
Yeah.
And, sometimes just being still and waiting on a little bit of gratitude is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that is, I think, just so important. Like I journal a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of, it is the reason I'm not heavily sedated and in somebody's facility, because, it just really allows me to just express things. And I think that's something that, getting those thoughts out of your head, whether you go and speak to a therapist.
Right.
My journaling is a form of therapy for me, but meditation and prayer.
Absolutely.
And just really being able to focus again on what you have rather than focusing on what you don't have. And just redefining Christmas, the holidays, the new year, whatever, in a way that serves you.
Right. I tell my clients all the time that journaling is probably the best thing that I've ever done for myself, and going to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm able to relate to them sitting across from me, having to tell me what's happening in their private life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that feeling uncomfortable about that, because
Mm-hmm.
I've sat on someone's couch before.
Yeah.
And, not being ashamed to say, hey, I've been where you are.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that this process is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And, and sometimes that's just what you need. And I tell people all the time, therapy doesn't have to be forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not forever. It's to help you to maneuver through your healing, through your journey, the way that you need to do that. So I'm not, I'm not a fixer. I'm a helper.
Right.
So, and letting people know that, it's okay to talk to somebody during this time, during this in your life. It's okay to come and say, hey, I'm really not feeling the holidays. I don't like it. I don't, I need some help on this journey because I'm not feeling this. So it's good to have somebody to just chat with from time to time.
Yeah.
And I think society doesn't make that seem okay all the time. It's getting a little bit better, and I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
The stigma it's getting a little bit better. It's not where it should be or where it needs to be right now, but it's getting there. So, being a listening ear for somebody who may not really want to go to therapy, sometimes we just have to listen and show some gratitude in their man.
Right. And I think, because one of the things I wanted to talk about was, because, you had touched on this a little bit before, was either when you've lost your family, and, and you're dealing with the fact that, your loved one is no longer with you on this holiday. Everything else is fine,
right.
But you're simply missing somebody, or, if you're away from your family.
Right.
Family's good, because even like with people whose children, who are grown and living their own lives, family dynamics are good. They're just somewhere else. But
right.
What about kind of those situations where people just missing the people that they love?
So grief is real during the holidays. And I actually had a little conversation a couple of weeks ago on grief during the holidays and loneliness during the holidays. Because that is, again, when society says we are to be our happiest during the holidays. And if you have recently lost someone, or you have gone through a divorce, or your children have moved, or your emptiness, whatever is going on, that makes your home or your family not what it was for whatever reason. That can be very difficult because you're out of your element.
Right.
You are totally out of your element, and you have to find where you fit. That can be hard to do when you don't have those people in your life anymore. So what can you do for that? First of all, again, acknowledging that this is going to be a tough holiday season. That's the first thing. And having a good support system is good as well. Having a couple of friends that know what you've gone through, or family members who know what you've gone through, that you can pick up the phone. I have a friend, I just pick up the phone and we just hold the phone and listen to each other breathe.
Yeah.
You're okay. Yeah, I'm okay. So just having somebody that you can go to, whether that's a therapist, a friend, a family member, but having some type of support system is good. If you don't have a support system, if you're alone in a city by yourself, again, we talk about cultivating an attitude of gratitude. What can you do if you belong to any organization, reaching out to them to see what's happening for the holidays, doing some community service, rethinking your expectation of what the season is supposed to be. And that's a huge one. And I think that we need to do that more often, even if we do have people around us. Just rethinking what the expectation is for us, so that we can move through the holiday season, less stressed, with our bill money in our pocket, and everybody is still happy.
Yeah.
Rethinking the expectation and discussing that with your family. If your family has changed, if the dynamic has changed, okay, well, let's go ahead and have this conversation about what the holidays are going to look like for us, because we've had to change. And not waiting until, I think they're going to show up for Christmas, or I think this person may come, I think I'm going home. But already kind of having that stuff planned out, I already have had the conversations.
Yeah.
So 2 days before Christmas, you're not saying, oh, I'm not coming. or
Mm-hmm.
somebody else is not telling you, I'm not coming.
Right.
So just rethinking those expectations and being honest about where you are, and being okay with where you are is important as well. So not not having yourself on overload.
Right.
Do what you can, do what you can, do what you can stand, do what you can do for that particular time and that particular season.
Yeah.
Because it is rough. I lost my dad many years ago, but every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every Father's Day, I am not in a good place. I was
Yeah.
in Jamaica, of all beautiful places, Father's Day, and had a total meltdown on
Yeah.
Father's Day.
Yeah.
Well, my dad has been gone 14 years.
Yeah.
But the grief, it doesn't leave just because time has passed.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to allow yourself an opportunity to go through that emotion, feel
Mm-hmm.
what you're feeling. And thankfully, I had some family around who were like, okay, well, we know what you're doing. I'm going to go off to myself and have this moment, and give yourself permission to have that moment.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep things bottled up, but give yourself permission to cry for
Right.
whoever you need to cry for. Give yourself permission to, take an extra nap.
Yeah.
During the holidays. Give yourself permission not to buy all these gifts, not to go in debt. Just giving yourself permission to be okay with where you are currently.
Yeah.
Is important.
Yeah. And I think, you reiterated this, and I think that's very important in this, giving yourself permission, to do whatever it is that you need to do, whether it is to cry, because I think grief is something that a lot of us, because we grieve deaths, we grieve
Mm-hmm.
relationships, we grieve, all these different things. And grief, like you say, it takes the time it takes.
Right. And it's fluid. It's not, this is what's going to happen this month. This is what's going to happen this month. You're going to go through all your stages of grief perfectly. But grief is very fluid.
Mm-hmm.
You can go from being happy to sad to angry, and there's no particular order.
Yeah.
And there's no particular time. So grief is very fluid. And a lot of times when people are on the outside looking in, they don't realize that your grief is fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce is like the death of a family.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And so you have to figure out now where you fit. Like I said, redoing traditions.
Mm-hmm.
What you're going to do this Christmas because your children may not be there, or you're in a new city, or whatever's happening.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to create what you need to create for yourself during that time?
Yeah.
And giving yourself permission.
Yeah.
To do that and feel okay about that.
Right. Because I think, because you mentioned, like, divorce really is a death of a it's really like a death.
Mm-hmm.
If the person's still alive. It really is, because it's particularly, because like I was married for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just like that was half of my life.
Right.
And so one of the things that I have committed to doing is really focusing on the good memories, because
Right.
we had a lot of fun Christmases. I mean, the four of us we really had good Christmases. We'd watch the Griswold Family Vacation. We'd watch the Christmas Story.
Polar Express.
Yeah, Polar Express. We had some fun things, and there was some really great times. So, those are things that I really like to think about,
Mm-hmm.
in helping me to, again, to redefine and really, like, is to be grateful that there were good memories, and be grateful for the
having
fun
some
things we
gratitude.
used to do. Because
Right.
even
having some gratitude about those good memories.
right, yeah, because even though the four of us aren't, together, we're still a family, and
Absolutely.
we still have those memories, and and I get a chance now to create new memories and new things, and I think it's giving myself that permission to say that, well, that's how my Christmas was defined in that season of my life, but now I'm in this new season, and I get to define Christmas however I want to. I don't have to play Santa. I don't have to buy gifts for 50 people.
I know that's right.
And so it really can be a joyful time, in that in this season of my life, I get to celebrate Christmas the way I want to. And kind of, and it's not like playing tricks on yourself, but really reconditioning yourself to
Mhm.
think differently
Yes.
about, the
Yes.
way you thought about it.
Right. Because you've been doing it for 21 years. So that's a long time of repetition.
Right.
So how do you train your mind to rethink what Christmas is going to be
Yeah.
and be okay with it?
Yeah.
Because it's never going to be, well, it may not ever be what it was.
Yeah.
So how do you recondition your mind to know that it may not be that, and be okay with the fact that it may not be that again?
Yeah.
And you're creating a new space for you to enjoy your holiday.
Yeah.
Just creating a new space and looking at that with gratitude that you even have the opportunity to create this new space.
Yeah.
That you're in a good place, that you can create this new thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we forget about that. We focus a lot on the bad times. Oh, this happened and I'm not going to be with my family. But that gives you an opportunity to create something new.
Right.
And so that in itself is a blessing. That's a way to almost reinvent yourself, reinvent your holidays for what you want your holidays to be.
Right. And it truly, and I can speak, especially just from the perspective of divorce, because a lot of people look at divorce as the break and you've lost, your relationship and you've lost all this. But, it truly is a time to rediscover you.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly a time to, redefine you, or just any type of loss or transition. And that's what, that's why I keep talking about, being the CEO of you,
Mm-hmm.
making
Mm-hmm.
decisions
Right.
about how you are going to create the life you desire and deserve. And you truly have a lot more freedom to do that, unless you lock yourself, you put yourself in a box that says Christmas has to look this way, or family has to look this way, or it has to be celebrated this way. And I think a lot of times we treat ourselves like receptionists instead of treating ourselves like CEOs.
Absolutely.
And giving ourselves permission to define our holidays to be however it is that we want them to be.
Absolutely. Giving ourselves permission. That is the most important thing, because, in any transition, grief, whether that's grief or whatever that is, or just I've decided that I can't spend all my money anymore.
Yeah.
It may not necessarily be a breakup or a death, but, just redefining, like you said, redefining and thinking about what you need to do moving forward. Mm-hmm. If you want to make some different decisions in your life moving forward around the holiday season, how can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So just really being honest and giving yourself permission to do some things differently, not feel bad about it.
Right. And that's the biggest thing, is not feeling bad about doing good for yourself.
Absolutely. So, self-care, being good to yourself.
Yes.
Maybe instead of buying a Christmas present, go and have a massage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take yourself to dinner. Do something like that for yourself that will help you to promote your self-care, because you will have to move on after this holiday season.
Right. And that's the thing. This is just a couple of months and you've got the rest of your life. And it's all about how you define it and how you decide that it's going to be. So,
and sometimes those bad decisions can follow us through the year. That credit card bill that'll follow you.
Yeah.
Those bad decisions can follow us.
New Year.
Yeah, right. On to the new year, and so then that can get you off track for whatever you're trying to do for your New Year's resolution. Right. If you're trying to pay off your credit card, well, running it up at Christmas time is probably not a good thing to do.
Right. That is true.
So rethinking where you want to be and looking past the holiday season, where you're going, looking past that.
Yes. Well, okay. Well, of course, we've gotten to the end of the hour, because we can, I can always just sit down and chat and talk about anything for forever. So it is so great to reconnect. But you're going to be back, and we're going to continue this series and talking about how to deal with them toxic folk during the holidays in particular. But it's really something we do year round. But particularly when you got toxic folk that's in your family that you got to spend Christmas with, how do you protect yourself again.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll be back with that. But before we end the episode, of course, if there's anything you want to share with our audience, particularly how to get in contact with you, because we know that you are a counselor who can help us deal with some of these issues. But just share a little bit about how we can get in contact with you, and then anything else you want to share as we close out this episode.
I can be contacted on Facebook at Premier Counseling Services and on Instagram at Premier Counseling Services or at Just Jocelyn. I can be found on either one of those platforms. We have lots of wonderful things coming up, vision board parties coming up to help people create what they want, their intentions for the year. So we have lots of things coming up this year. We're actually hosting one in Houston at the African American Culture Museum there in Houston, Texas. So if you're in the Houston area, come out and join us. And we're also hosting one here in the Gulf Coast area. So have a look at our Facebook, and we would be happy to have you join us.
So that's Premier Counseling Services, right?
Premier Professional Counseling Services.
Right. See, I knew that's why I wanted to repeat. Premier Professional Counseling Services. Yes. Check her out on Facebook and Instagram, Premier Professional Counseling Services. Well, thank you so much for joining me here in the.
Thank you for having me.
Back on the next episode, and we'll continue this talk about getting through these holidays, because we're going to have a joyful season, not only during this holiday, but just be joyful throughout. So I just want to thank you.
Feel the space that we want.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, and I look forward to having you back in the C-suite next time.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you. Well, it has been truly a joy talking to you today in Conversations from the C-Suite, the Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. As always, we want you to be joyful regardless of the season. And of course, this episode was brought to you by Deciding on Joy, my journey from breakup to breakthrough in 30 days. And actually, for those of you who may be going through a divorce or getting over a divorce, this is a great tool that helps you to find your joy, whether it is during the holidays or not. So you can go to www.decidingonjoy.com. That's decidingonjoy.com. You can get your autographed copy there. And of course, it is available on Amazon as well. So I just want to thank you again for joining us in this episode of Conversations from the C-Suite, the Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. It's all about the CEO moves that you make. I hope that you felt something. I hope that you learned something. But most of all, I hope that you do something. If you are experiencing a little joy deficiency during the holiday season, it's time for you to decide to be joyful nonetheless. And remember, that's all about acknowledging what issues you're facing, being honest about why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then deciding to do something about it, whether that is seeing a therapist, whether it is getting your girlfriends together, or whether it is doing like I did, breaking up with Christmas. And again, the breakup with Christmas was not about being a Grinch, but just simply redefining Christmas for me. So we hope that you do that as well, because it's all about the CEO moves that you make. So make sure that you continue to create those circles of influence to empower and educate yourself for elevation, and to operationalize what you learn so that you can optimize your outcome. Because remember, whether you report to a CEO or you are the CEO of your own business, you are always the CEO of you. So you have the power to create the life you desire and deserve. So make sure that you, in fact, do something. And remember, we want to see you back on another episode of Conversations from the C-Suite. And you can see previous episodes at csuitewomen.tv. That's csuitewomen.tv to see previous episodes. So we hope that you continue to make those CEO moves. Remember, the power is not in the conversations, but in the moves that you make. Don't just talk about it, be about it. But don't wait. Weight broke the scale. Now is the time to do what you need to do to be the CEO of you. Remember, your life is the product of your choices. Choose to be the CEO of you. I'm Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, your host, and I'll see you next time in the C-suite when we rejoin again. Until then,